Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TaughtToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about how having a mediocre life does not mean you have a balanced life. Many people today talk about work-life balance, and it's this phrase people use to excuse mediocrity and failure, to excuse not doing enough, not working hard enough, not being smart enough, not being diligent enough, just taking the pedal off the gas and slowing down. And they have all kinds of excuses. Well, I want to go spend time with my kids. And then what do? They go home and they watch television with their kids. That's not spending time with them. There's nothing valuable going on there. You could put a cardboard cutout of you on the couch next to them while they're watching television, and you've accomplished the same thing of nothing. But this is commonly used as an excuse. And I've seen countless people use their families as an excuse, this churches, charities, whatever it may be, as an excuse for why they aren't doing the things they can do. And meanwhile, even if you only want to work 8 hours a day, most people aren't working 8 hours a day. They're at work 8 hours a day. They're in an office, or they're in a chair, or they're doing something, being paid for 8 hours a day. They're not actually working 8 hours a day. If you just made the effort to say, you know what, I'm going to work every minute I'm supposed to be working, I'm going to actually be working, you wouldn't have to make excuses for why you want to work less hours, because you would get so much done in one day that you could do whatever else you want to do the rest of the day. But the problem is, too many people are looking for mediocrity. They're looking for just enough to get by, just enough to have that next vacation or buy that new car, but not enough to actually have success. This issue is all over the place. So common is this excuse of, well, I want to spend time with my family, so I'm scaling back my work some. You barely work as it is. What are you talking about scaling back your work for your family? Don't use your family as an excuse. Nothing's more vile than someone using their family as an excuse for their own personal failings. That's evil, my friend. That's not something good. That's not something somebody that cares about their family does. Use their family as a scapegoat for why they can't achieve success. Blame their family for their lack of ambition, for their lack of diligence, for their lack of integrity and ethics in actually working hard. Yes, it's ethical to work hard. Yes, you do it intelligently, but if you're not willing to work hard, you're lacking the ethical and moral character of an individual who will be successful. The best you can hope for is mediocrity, and most of the time you won't even get that. Don't look around at what other people do and use them as a basis for how you're going to live your life. There's a reason there's normal and successful people are not considered normal, because what they do is so different and unique compared to normal people, it gets the great results they get. You can never attain those kind of results doing the failure and mediocre things that everyone else is doing. And the vast majority of the people are doing that. And look at the results they get. In the United States, for example, many people are overweight. Is that the result you want to get? Well, you don't. What do you want to do then? Maybe exercise each and every day. Or most people don't do that. They just don't. They may start doing that, and they half-heartedly do it, or they exercise a couple times a week. They're just too lazy to do it full force and be diligent about it. So change that. Another thing normal people do is watch a tremendous amount of television and movies and videos and entertainment. Stop doing that. You want to be different, don't be like those people. Don't settle for mediocrity and this work-life balance nonsense that people use as an excuse for failure. Excuse for why they don't live up to the expectations they should have for themselves. An excuse for why they settle in for doing what everybody else is doing and not achieving any kind of real success in life. And you don't have to. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It doesn't matter if you went to college or you didn't go to college. None of that matters. If you will be diligent, hardworking, and intelligent about how you do the things you're doing and do the right things, you'll become successful. You will be in a league of your own because there's so few people that actually will do those things. Because it requires some diligence. It requires some self-sacrifice. And so instead of falling back to this mediocre trap of, work-life balance where you pull back, you don't work as hard as you should, and you don't work as intelligently as you should, and you spend your day surfing the internet and chatting about nonsense and useless things that have nothing to do with your work and your business at hand. And instead you turn that around, you become somebody different, somebody who works diligently, somebody who, when they're actually being paid to work, is actually working. And if you have your own business, this becomes even more difficult because you don't have someone over you to tell you what to do and when to do it. So you have to double your diligence and really ensure that you are under self-control and you have the self-discipline to keep working when there's no one there to see that you're not working, no one there to tell you when to work, no one there to tell you what to do. This is why so many people do not succeed in their own businesses, because they don't have the diligence, they don't have the self-discipline to be able to actually have success, because they need someone over them. They need someone telling them what to do. They need someone looking over their shoulders in order to get good results. They just can't push themselves enough, and they can't be disciplined enough to do it themselves. They have to have someone looking over their shoulders. Well, the reality is they don't have to, but they've chosen to live that life. They've chosen to fall in line with what the world is teaching people to be like. The world teaches us mediocrity. Guarantee you put a book out talking about work-life balance and how you need to work less hours and all this kind of nonsense, you will get people buying that book up left and right. It'll be on all the talk shows. Everybody will be talking about how great this book is, what a new revelation is. It's so great, because truly successful people, they aren't following any of that kind of nonsense. Truly successful people are diligent in their endeavors, and they're doing the things they do that are important things the most efficiently and effectively they can. And they're intelligent about what they do. They're not slacking. They're not laying around doing nothing. They're working very, very hard. Many people just expect things to come to them without the required and necessary work involved in getting them to come to you. Yes, God blesses you and God's very gracious and merciful to you. But if you have a package of seeds in your house and you don't go put them in the yard, you're not going to get a crop no matter how much you pray and whine and complain to God about it and murmur about, well, God's not answering my prayer. You're not doing the diligent, disciplined work that you need to be doing in order to get the results that you're claiming to God you want, but you don't put forth the effort to prove you really want them. And that's not to say you have to do everything, because God will certainly help you and give you grace and mercy and enabling you to push through and become successful. But you have to do things. You have to be diligent, you have to be disciplined, and you have to work when most people won't work. Look how many people take the weekends off. They live for... I heard someone just a couple days ago talking about how, well, that's what people do, live for the weekends. I don't live for the weekends. Every day of my life is blessed and happy and joyous. I don't live for the weekends. Who lives for the weekends? And yet, sadly, that's what most people do. They talk about work-life balance, but their entire week is spent living for the weekend. Each day they come home dreading the next day they're going to have to go through work again, not accomplishing all they could, not doing the best they could, not being as disciplined as they could, not being as diligent as they could. And they'll talk about work-life balance because they have a hobby, or they go on trips, or they're watching movies with their family, and all these things that are useless and not real time spent with their family, and not true, valuable time spent with your family, under the guise of work-life balance, under the guise of, well, this is what a family man should do. No, a family man should work hard and be diligent to give his family the things they deserve, the blessings that maybe he didn't have. Not fall in line with the traps of everybody else in the world, what they're doing, which is doing the least amount possible to try to get the most results. Which sounds good on the surface, except it leads to mediocrity. It leads to failure. It leads to disaster. It doesn't lead to success. Yes, you can develop systems, and you should develop systems to get the most done with the least amount of effort. But that doesn't mean you do that in order to not work, in order to not have effort, to not be diligent, to not be disciplined, but in order so that you don't waste time in things that could be done more efficiently and more effectively by either other systems or other people. But that doesn't mean you just sit back and talk about your work-life balance and talk about how you're not going to work as much and don't put in the hard work required for success. And don't even try to attain success. That's the biggest problem, is that many people don't even try. They don't put forth the effort. And of course, try is not really the right word, because people say try. What do they really mean? They mean they're not going to do it. They mean they'll just put a little tiny bit of effort in. And if it doesn't work out, go do something else. But really putting forth the effort and being the best you could possibly be in your job, in your business, whatever it may be, you're going to rise to the top, because most people aren't doing that. And why shouldn't you rise to the top? Why shouldn't you be the best you could possibly be? Why shouldn't you be the most successful? Why shouldn't you be the richest? Why shouldn't you be the healthiest? Why shouldn't you be the smartest? Why shouldn't you be the most blessed in everything you do? You should. But that's up to you. Because you can cry out to God all you want. He's not going to give you those things when you don't do the things to get them. They're freely available to you, but you do not receive them because you will not even get into the position to receive them. You're like the man with the package of seeds in the house, complaining that God's not answering your prayer because you don't have a crop growing up in your field when you never planted the seeds in the first place. You were too lazy to even do the most basic of work. Because if you just threw seeds out there, at least there's a potential when the rain comes and just nature taking course that you might get some crop, even if you did nothing else after that. Most people won't even do that. And this is where you have to stand alone by yourself, comparing yourself with yourself. Stop trying to live like everyone else is living, because that's mediocre. That's not good. Truly, that's failure. Become the success you can be. Each and every single day, go to God, seek His wisdom on how to be successful that day, how to become better that day, and then follow it. Follow His wisdom He gives you. He gives wisdom liberally to all that ask Him. I pray it's been a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.